Hey, Poncho, do you mind if I give Caroline the link for
No, of
the
course
show?
you can.
Okay, all right.
What's going on, Poncho?
Hey, what's up? What's your
How's
name?
everybody doing out there? My name is Gabriel.
Nice to meet you, Gabe. Oh, lovely biblical name.
Awesome, man. Where you translating from? Where you located?
I'm in UK. I'm in England.
Oh, awesome. Hello, England.
Hello to England. Yeah, and then we've got a crazy Canuck of a Canadian as well.
Awesome. Well, you see what we're doing out here. You see what Earth Suit is representing and keeping you guys informed of what's going on over here
As it
now.
grows, Gabriel, bigger and bigger. They can't stop it.
Oh, yeah. And have you seen the Jeranism 6-hour retest of Elsinore yet?
Yeah, we saw it.
The Salton C one.
Yep. Water's level.
Yep.
And that's the end of it, Gabriel.
Correct. Well, actually, I showed up there at 4 in the morning to assist with that test.
I think that's probably the best time of night that you could have showed up for there because it seems like the humidity kind of goes up and down there, right? You guys had a bunch of fog roll in to kind of squelch some of the tests. Right?
Well, just like everyone knows, Salton Sea is probably the worst place to try to do any type of observational test. It seems like the laser test cuts through the whole atmospheric layer, no problem. It's always going to give you pretty accurate results every time, depending, again, on the strength of the laser. But when it came for everything observational, then you know exactly what happened. Atmospheric layering, dust, maybe wind.
I don't know. Has
Yeah.
anybody tried to like think about exactly what the difference might be between a laser and a sort of an omnidirectional light source? Like you guys were using LEDs in balloons and like one super light sun lamp bulb and stuff like that. I wonder if there's not like just a difference in the quality of light that we get from these two different things, because I've seen like different tests as far as the have you heard of like the double slit experiment and stuff like that?
Absolutely. Huge fan of watching all that stuff back in the day. The idea that the light beam, when it goes through a double slit, that it does something when you're not looking at it, and it does something while you're looking at it. I like to see that experiment in front of my eyes, to confirm what the hell exactly that is, which is exactly why I went to the Salton Sea test, so I can see with my own eyes what all these tests are actually doing and to interpret the data myself. And I got to see firsthand what everything looks like through a P90 camera, and seeing what things look like in 10 miles away. They can see cars visibly about 25 feet above the atmospheric layer. It's still supposed to be about 47 feet of curve of water to impede all that. So I got to see with my own eyes that, everything is still panning out, that the Earth still looks flat. Lasers say it's flat. It's the most concrete test to prove that easily. The observation test looks like we still need to work on to make them a lot more viable.
You mean for the balloons and things of that nature?
Well, yeah, you know how the balloon, that whole test started out with the idea of, again, that they put the structure up, they want to put a structure up about 33 feet with some balloons so we can easily identify it from 9.3 miles. 33 feet. Correct, 33 feet. And it's a fantastic way to start trying to lock in on what exactly happens from the observer's point of view through a P90 camera, to zoom in on the structure to see how much of the atmospheric layer is on top of the water, because you always see clearly the water line, and then the atmospheric layer, of course, that's Salton Sea, pathetic. Through my eyes, through the P90, it was about 25 feet, and the sun was barely starting to creep up, so it's only bound to get worse at that point. And that's exactly what I saw. About 25 feet of atmospheric layer, because I did find the target after the fact. I didn't know what the target looked like that's like, almost half of what. Correct. Again, what was the original test? They said that there's supposed to be 33 feet of water, of curvature on that lake at that distance. And here we are with the P90 camera, pretty much on the shoreline, and we're seeing structures starting around the 15-foot altitude mark, basically not on the water line, but about 15 feet up. There's houses out there, there's buildings, and a highway in the back. Well, the footage all shows all that, previously. And we have even more footage of that. As soon as Wendell, he's going to look through all the footage. I'm pretty sure it's about maybe 2 hours worth, and find if there's a gem in there. That's all we can hope for, and hopefully it's something that's clear enough to see for all of us.
Yeah, I think these laser tests really say enough.
The laser tests are solid.
Right. Yeah. So I feel that that's pretty good. It was just like I think maybe if anything, it kind of demonstrates the difficulties with using other different types of light. That there are certain kinds of like whatever humidity and different things like that play into it. So, I don't look at those as like being fails, but almost like proofs, in the making of how we kind of get around things in the future and how we kind of like interpret
it seems
that.
Like the laser test is the easiest. You can do it at home test. There's plenty of videos of what not to do with the laser test. Like I believe Jaren, he ran into a couple of failures with the laser test. And it all goes back to the power of the laser test. And these guys are throwing around a number that the laser test is not going to be impressive unless it's about 5 to 7 miles. That's when it becomes impressive because according to the curve calculator, you're going to be seeing that measure of the water at that point is going to be 22 feet and whatnot. And you're cutting through, you're setting your laser 6 feet off the water line or maybe a foot off the water line. It's cutting through all that atmospheric density. It's hitting to their side. It's hitting a target. And well, there you go. Now what are you going to do? Just shoot the laser that's being affected by gravity or, what are you going to say?
Oh, you said the G word.
Millions of observations. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where we're going to leave it.
Gabriel, did you have occasion to talk to some of the people from the IIG group there as well, like while you're out there?
Part of the mission that I had when I left my house at 2 in the morning while that live stream was on is to get there and speak with IIG because, again, they're coming from where we all were at one time, correct? All of us believe
we're all cobras at one point, right? That's
correct. So now these guys, I deem them intelligent because you know what? They're coming. They're harder to convince because they know too much about science and basically they're still in there believing that all this stuff cannot be safe because again of all the reasons that everybody knows, right? Too many people involved, whatnot. So I don't believe maybe Ross will never convert and say and see what we're seeing, but at least he'll have that thing always in the back of his mind. Maybe. See, it's all about.
He did see the same thing with his own eyes. Is that correct?
Correct, but according from the feedback I'm getting from the personnel, that he has a way to explain it. See, he has a way to explain the phenomenon that he's seeing, and it's going to take more tests. And maybe, again, if he's still kind of like one of those guys that's inquisitive, like it seems like he is from what it sounds like, he likes to look into these type of things to see if they're real or not. So if he just continues to look, I think eventually, in some point in the future, you never know, he might just be on board. But again, that's just my opinion. It all goes back to, again, he's a guy that's based on facts, like all of us, right? We want some facts to try to get this stuff done. And right now, the laser test seems to be the only one that's working. The observational test seems to be a work in progress. We don't have a solid observational test that I've seen yet. Again, that's my opinion. There's probably some tests out there that exist, and I just haven't seen them, or they're in development, or, again, they just haven't reached my eyes yet. They probably already exist.
All right. Well, and Gabriel, I've said it before, but you guys are sort of planning on doing another test maybe out in Catalina Island or something around there?
You know what? These guys, that's all they're about is they're always trying to find some new test, some way, try to plan something in the future, something a little bit more, now that they kind of like learn the ropes on what it takes to get these tests going. You need manpower, equipment, reliability, and a good plan to get one of these tests together to make it go the way it's supposed to. And all of us have learned new things, right? We're all constantly learning about flat Earth. And
yeah, it's one of the reasons I'm really excited about what you guys are doing out there in the Salton Sea, those tests and stuff, and what you guys will be engaged in the future is that it sets up like kind of a protocol for other people in other areas of the world to be able to replicate or at least kind of engage in the same kind of test.
Absolutely. They can basically look at these things like, I know I can do that test better because everyone can see the principles of what the test is and be like, come on, we know 10 guys. Get 10 guys together and go to your guys' local lake that you know that has a pretty good amount of distance. You guys pick 2 points and you tell a friend, all right, let's start live streaming, or let's do a pre-test to make sure everything works. And then the next day we start doing a live stream, and then lo and behold, the internet's going to be flooded with a bunch of people that successfully do the laser test.
That's what I'm hoping for. And, the other thing, too, that's interesting about it is that because the first night before they actually, did the official test, they were on this channel just for the pre-test, and those tests were successful. And then in the following night, I think they encountered some complications and things like that. But what all that tells me is that you can't just take one test. And so that really keeps it alive. That means maybe you got to do the test 3 times, 4 times to really get, a satisfactory kind of level of agreement with the skeptics and the flat earthers, or, you know what I mean, in that way. So it really keeps the conversation alive, and it keeps the facts coming in, and it keeps people looking, looking for a conclusive sort of test and getting at that. So, mad support for you guys, and thanks so much for being a part of all that.
Well, awesome. Well, Poncho Pete and everyone out there in the community watching, hey, keep it flat, right?
Word.
Let me go try to find Flat Earth dude here. Here he is. Thank you, Gabriel. You got it.
All right.
You guys ready for a
Thank you, Gabriel.
Shit.
Everybody's energetic in California, aren't they?
I sound like Pete. We're going to do a fashion